Check. 1 2 1 2. Let's get right to it, guys. Welcome to the stream, #1 commentary channel on YouTube. I don't know what's going on that my audio wasn't working for some reason. Welcome back, guys. This is the nighttime stream. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. We've been having some fun. I know I'm a little late, but or feeding Ferg. That could be another option as well too. Path to Truth. Welcome to the stream, my guy. Appreciate you guys for always showing up for your boy. Let's lock in and talk about something that's been heavy on my mind. We made 2 shorts about it as well too, which is crazy. We've been putting in the work. It's been fun. But let's get down into more details as far as let's just switch it this way. Makes it a lot easier. Let's get down to the nitty gritty on Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson, Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington, guys, because we've had a little debate this morning, guys. If you guys missed it, that's all good. You could either watch it back or you guys could come hang out tonight and debate on who wins. But I feel pretty strongly with my 2 picks. I do. I'll be honest. Now, if I had to say what I would feel more confident in, I have more confidence that Paddy Pimblett surprisingly beats. I have more confidence that Paddy Pimblett beats Ferguson than I have of Leon Edwards beating Colby Covington. And I made a reel about it on Instagram, and people are coming at my neck. And this is good. He actually changed his name to Hollywood Heath, which is great. That's a great name. Paddy pays the bills, and it hurts Miller to admit it. What's up, chat? Let's go. Snipey and Hito in the building as well, too. Mike Dorn in the DC Fight Club member. Torrin Brown in the building as well, too. Mike Dorn says, if Paddy wins, people will say it's because Tony's washed up, but it's a tough fight. It depends what version of Tony Ferguson we get, but what I will say, Beta Quest in the building as well, too, and he gives the membership to MTB Grizzly. Thank you so much. Look,
whoa.
And I call Beta slick comment. I saw that you put the timestamp that I said it was a little boring fight. I think you missed the part of the only entertaining part about it was Sean Strickland. But I gave credit to Strickland because if it weren't for him, the fight would have been a snoozer altogether. So, if anything, we got to give even more credit. Even more credit to Sean Strickland for getting the job done. Thank you also for the 550. I know I heard a notification. This guy Beta, man. He sends 550 on Cash App and he gives a membership. And this guy works hard for his money. So I appreciate you, bro, because to feel your support, it goes a long way. And if people think socialists are lazy, I would say you're a little bit wrong because Beta, one of the hardest workers I know, is a huge socialist. So he kind of defies and he kind of not only defies the stigma, but he's living proof that it could be otherwise. Then again, to kind of break down what Beta thinks about theologically and ethically and as far as politics wise, it is a rabbit hole. It is a lot. But thank you, Beta, for the gift of membership. Thank you for the 550. Khabib Duck Tony, never forget. I don't know about Duck Tony because both of them, remember, I think the last 2 times of that fight being canceled, I think might have been Tony Ferguson's fault. If I could, you know what, who might have it actually? Tapology might have exactly the fights that were canceled. Let's see. Let's prove to see if HLWRR is right. Let's see. Let's put them under the gun. Canceled fight, so they should have it. The last time it was canceled, it was canceled due to coronavirus. That's understandable. Let's see the other one. Canceled. Ferguson tore his knee, right? So that's 1 for Tony, 0 for Khabib as far as cancellation. Nurmagomedov hospitalized, so it's tied. Both of their faults, right? Let's keep going down the list. This is actually a little fun. How about this one? Ferguson injury. So 2 times it was Ferguson's fault to 1 Khabib. Khabib, Nurmagomedov rib injury. So it's 2-2. Do we get a tiebreaker? I think that's it. So he's equally both of their faults. Sorry, HO. I had to put you under the gun. we fact check here, right? And this is not like the Facebook fact checks. It's a little better, right? So, was Ferguson ducked? Yes. In the same way, maybe Khabib was ducked as well too. As far as they both were injured, they both got hurt. Daniel, welcome to the stream. I'm just trying to do something real quick. In the meantime, 267. By the way, guys, we're gonna be having some live debates. I have Paddy Pimblett and I have Paddy Pimblett and I have Leon Edwards winning these two fights that were announced that were of recent. If you guys disagree, 267-545-8096 to share your thoughts on why I'm wrong. And the phone lines are open. So there's that. And you guys let me know, why am I wrong about these two fights? Because listen, again, I feel more strongly that Paddy Pimblett wins, as bad as that sounds. The $10 from Hollywood Hito. Let's go.
I didn't know that. Just pay.
And let's give credit to Hito, Chris Faith, Trey Melton. Those are our regular callers. A-Rod has called as well too. We got to give him credit. But if there's anyone else out there that wants to, stand in the ring of fire and debate a little bit on why Colby wins, you guys let me know. And you guys call in. Let's get it. Thank you for the $10, Hito. I had to do the quick social media, what's it called? Promotions. Khabib fat check, says Mike Dorman. Isn't it crazy that I think the rib injury was due to him trying to cut too much weight, if I'm not mistaken? So maybe that's a problem in the UFC and MMA in general. These guys are cutting just a ridiculous amount of weight. Torrance says if Tony wins, they're gonna say he beat a guy who wasn't all that good. Listen, I'm here to tell you, if Tony wins, I'm giving credit not only to Tony Ferguson, I can double down on telling people I told you so, as far as Paddy Pimblett isn't ready for the top echelon of the division, and that's why Tony Ferguson had to humble him. And you would even have to give more credit to Tony Ferguson, because even though he's a shell of himself, to be a young, hungry fighter in Paddy Pimblett, who's a big 155er, I think you have to give all the credit to Tony Ferguson, Torrin Brown. That's my argument. Plugs in the building says lose for Paddy. He beat a washed Tony and he lost to a washed Tony. I mean, is it a lose? I have it by second round submission for Paddy Pimblett, plug. So if he does that, at the end of the day, that's a little bit impressive to get Ferguson out of there that early. So I'll give him full credit. But if it's a close fight, then I guess it is kind of a lose-lose, because I'll be the first one to say, damn, you couldn't even dominate a washed Tony. That's a bad look. Daniel Burry in the stream. Khabib ran back to Russia, says Plugs. McNugget's been running for a while. Is McNuggets even going to fight anytime soon? Plug. Steve Williams in the building, the California legend. He said Hito is Hollywood. That's a good name. I think Snipey gave him that name, by the way. I agree for sure. Paddy winning is more likely than Leon winning. Maybe we can circle back to that as well too. I have something to say about that in a second. HLWRR. Hey, Steve. Hello. Steve is the only person that has full immunity in the chat. Everybody knows that Steve is a chat legend, man. Feels good to be back in the second stream. If you're just getting here, we had a stream earlier today, and what we usually do is have like a good back and forth in the evening as far as Eastern time. So if you guys have made it here, if you guys are hanging out, thank you guys for coming through. And if you guys want to hear some good debates or be a part of one, 267-545-8096, where we can have a back and forth on who wins these new fights that have been announced by Dana White. Gabriel Prohaska versus Alex Pereira. I have Pereira. My picks are Pereira, Paddy Pimblett to win. I'm going to have Ian Gary versus Vicente Luque, and I'm going to have Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. I prefer, if you're going to call in, to have an opposite pick, and we can have a back and forth. That chant, I just picture whoever says it sitting on Dana's lap being tickled by him and laughing. Snipey, no shot though. Whoa, don't give Trey credit. Yeah, to give Trey credit is a little bit cringe, right, Mike Dornan? He may take it personally. Um, Khabib was a weight bully for sure. Dude is walking around at 200. Random, but since you brought a weight bully, I'm not that big on Hamza Shemaev, and I think part of his success is due to being somewhat of a weight bully. Yes, he beat Gilbert Burns, but by the skin of his teeth. And I believe, again, this is an overused phrase that's the first time he looked human. I think he's somewhat of a weight bully, and it's going to show at 185. He might beat Paulo Costa,
Call from
but I think he's going to struggle.
609.
to accept.
I think he's going to
press
struggle.
1. To send a voicemail.
You can
press
tell
2.
Hito's hyped by the way he said his name. Let's see what he has to say. Hito, welcome to the stream, to the #1 commentary channel on YouTube. Welcome, welcome.
I guess what is the hate around Paddy so bad? He had one bad fight in the UFC, literally just one bad fight. You know, mediocre. Still won. I don't care. One, it's a W. One bad fight, and this guy's like the most hated person in the world. It's insane. The guy brings star power. Clearly, the numbers show it. He had one bad fight. Every other fight before that's phenomenal. He either knocked you out or choked you out.
Let me ask you this. Okay, you're wondering why the hate. Let me ask you this. Why is he getting all the love? Why is he getting gifted a Ferguson after a controversial win against Gordon?
Sean O'Malley, but everybody loves him.
What's that?
Some would say the same thing about Sean O'Malley, but everybody loves him.
Ah, that's a good point. But let's break it down. What is the difference? Sean O'Malley, at the end of the day, it was you know what's the difference? It's actually not that complicated. Against Petr Yan, yes, it was close, but for him to compete against the #1 contender, you have to give him credit for that. He didn't. Paddy Pimblett didn't even fight. Oh,
he got a Jerry Gordon or whatever, and then he has a fucking a washed up Ferguson. What is he being gifted?
Can we admit it was a robbery? Can we at least admit that?
I agree with the judges, and they made the right call. All right, so
wow, this guy has sold out for Paddy.
Forget the fight though. What is he being gifted? He's not fighting the #1 ranked guy. He's not fighting for a contender shot. He's fighting Tony Ferguson. Where's the gift? So the guy's bringing all the star power, and he's fighting Tony Ferguson, and he's saying he's being gifted.
Because he's fighting a former interim champion after losing to
six fight loss streak. Nobody at this point.
He's fighting a former champion after okay, but look at the names that Tony Ferguson has fought as a recent as well too.
10 years ago, back in 1987.
No, that's not true at all. That's the thing. He's just fought Bobby Green, which is a name.
No,
he's fought
against though. No, he's fighting those people off his name, not off his wins.
Oh, okay, so at the end of the day, he has deserved to fight the names, although losing. He's fought Nate Diaz, Michael Chandler, Beneil Dariush, Bobby Green. After losing 4 fights in a row, 6 fights in total. But why? Because there was one point that he won about 11 fights, was supposed to fight Khabib, beat RDA, Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone, Edson Barbosa. What he did to him was spectacular. Fight of the night. This guy has had fight of the night and performances of the night. Back to back to back to back.
He gets him fights when he keeps losing them all.
Okay.
So if Ferguson's being gifted fight being on a stage with a superstar, because Ferguson's stock has dropped. It's over for him.
Ferguson has paid his dues on why he gets to fight big names. Why is Paddy allowed to fight a big name?
I don't consider Ferguson a big name no more. He can't headline. Is Ferguson headlining anything that's going to sell? No.
Wasn't he
the star? Paddy's the A side.
Wasn't he the co-main in the at UFC 270? What was it? 279 with UFC 270. He was a main event. Diaz versus Ferguson.
No, by default because he
would have been the co-main though. He would have been the co-main.
And guess who was selling that? That was Kamzat and Nate Diaz. All right, it was not no Tony Ferguson selling. Tony Ferguson cannot sell a fight. I guarantee you, Paddy would sell more than Tony Ferguson. Paddy's the A side.
Is Paddy the A side?
In this fight, yes, 100%.
Yes, because he's on a 6-fight winning streak. Ferguson, at the end of the day, is on a 6-fight losing streak. But again, I circle back to the question, why does Paddy deserve a big name like Ferguson? Like, who has he beat to give him a big name?
He's literally, first of all, okay, so you got to remember, there's a star power effect here, okay? The
Okay.
same bump O'Malley got, but he's not fighting for the number one contender spot. He's literally fighting a washed up veteran to get him retired out of here. So it's like, what? Like, you acting like they're giving him the craziest thing in the world, and they're giving the guy all the opportunity. He'll fight Ferguson and then probably fight like a top 10 guy afterwards, and won't even be fighting for the belt after this. This does nothing for him.
How do I?
Get him a little tune-up fight to get Paddy the Paddy hype machine going. But yeah, he's not gifted anything with this fight. The hate's crazy for one kind of bad fight.
You know
and
what?
Everything before that, the guy's been killing it.
I disagree as far as he doesn't gain anything from this fight. I think he gains a lot. He's fighting a former interim champ.
Yeah, I'm sure it looks good on the resume, but
Exactly. He doesn't deserve that, is my point. This is what he gets after winning a controversial decision against Gordon.
So the same thing for O'Malley with Peter Yan, and he gets the belt. That's crazy, and nobody's jumping up in arms.
I complained about it. That's where
slobbed on his knob for 3 months afterwards.
I complained that he was fighting Piotr Yan at number 1 when he was number 12 or 11. I've been saying this over and over again. So I've been consistent, Carl. The whole was that?
Maybe you, but not the masses.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
And more people are complaining about Paddy right now than they were O'Malley.
But O'Malley, okay, so all right, let's move on a little forward. All right, maybe we could agree to disagree whether Paddy deserves a shot against Ferguson. What does this mean for Paddy if he wins? Let's see if we agree on this one. Is this a good win?
But that's all I mean. Look at the fight top 10 guy.
Okay. Oh, so he beats Ferguson. You're saying he fights a top 10 guy?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Let's look at the top 10. All right. Bear with me here. And let's be honest. Let's talk about who he beats as well, too, okay? The top 10 in the lightweight division, Hito, are as follows. Grant Dawson, Dan Hooker, Arman Saryukian, Gamrot, Fiziev, Chandler, Dariush, Poirier, Gaethje, Oliveira. And I have it on my screen as well, too, in case you need to look at the list. Do you not only...
I would love to see him and Dan Hooker fight. That'd be a fun card to watch.
You know what? That's actually not a bad take. That's actually not the worst one, because that might be the only name that he could beat on that top 10 list. And okay, I agree. Give me Dan Hooker at Paddy Pimblett at this point. Who cares, right? But let me ask you this: does he deserve the top 10 fight if he beats Ferguson? Does it depend how he wins?
So. Controversial decision or not, a win is a win, and it's still a 6-fight winning streak. You're getting guys bumped up way quicker than that. Look at Khamzat. I don't think Khamzat had 6 fights before he started shooting up in the rankings.
Yeah, look at Bo Nickel.
Yeah, so I think the guy absolutely deserves it.
Oh man, I selfishly.
And Dan he's 11 here. I'm looking.
I think Dan Hooker pieces up Paddy Pimblett.
Not Paddy gets him to the ground.
You saw how well he did against Jalen Turner. Yeah, but Dan Hooker, he lost to Khabib, but I think he learned a lot from that. I don't think Paddy Pimblett is any Khabib as far as like he's going to be able to jump on his back or ground and pound that early. He might have a tough time taking down Dan Hooker. But listen, I hate that you might be right a little bit. Maybe that's the way to fast track Paddy Pimblett. That might be the genius plan. If he beats Ferguson, you give him Dan Hooker because that's the only name that he has a chance with against the top 10. Let me ask you this. What is Paddy Pimblett's ceiling at 155 in the lightweight division?
To be decided until we see him go against the top 10 guy. I would like to see what he would do against a Dan Hooker, and then we can start really talking about him going against like some other guys. Like, you got Gamrot, Fiziev. I mean, like there's some guys there that you can see him really pushing against. I don't see him really even getting. You're saying they're fast tracking him? I don't see him really going for a title for a while. To be honest with you, I think he's gonna have a slower grind than the other superstars. I don't think they're gonna push him that early. I think they want him to progress a little bit longer.
Maybe the path has been paved for him. I mean, the Dan Hooker that's that one fight that you say, you know what, he beats Ferguson. If you have to give him someone in the top 10, Dan Hooker might be a perfect name. Now back to what his ceiling is though, Hito. Do you think? And again, this is an honest, sincere Question: do you think with more time, he already has a star power? If they do right by him, maybe he has enough time to improve in the areas that he's weak in. The striking, he's not the best at. But if they slow track him again, where do you think? Do you think he'll actually fight for the title one day? Fight the top five? Like, if you had to guess what his ceiling would be, just gun to your head, what would you say it is? Because we could come back to this and see if you were right or wrong.
If we're talking lightweight, as long as Islam's there, there's no title shot for anybody.
Do you think Paddy Pimblett would ever find himself being in the top five?
Yeah, I can see. Let me see. Oliveira could stay there. I could see him taking Dariush's spot. Yeah, you got Poirier, Gaethje, Oliveira, Islam. I could see him taking a Dariush spot at some point. You got Chandler. I'm not really too thrilled with him. Yeah, I could see him taking Dariush's spot.
I
Top
knew
five.
I knew you were a Paddy fan. I didn't believe you were this big of a fan. I mean, you believe in this guy. Are you saying Ferguson has no shot?
No, absolutely not. That's crazy. That's stupid. He's gonna take him down. Probably submit him rear naked choke. Early second round, if anything.
That's your final prediction, Pat. That's how Paddy wins.
Yep.
So you that's the same one I have. I have a second round submission for Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, but I said early second round, so.
I guess we'll see. Any final thoughts before, because we're gonna set some more live callers later. I have Leon versus Colby. I know how you feel about that. Any final thoughts on Paddy Pimblett?
Nah, that's just go, Patty. Hey, did you see my bet? Did you? Are you gonna agree to those terms?
I did not see it.
All right. So if Colby wins, you gotta yell "Go Patty to Batty" on live on stream, and then if Leon wins, you can pick whatever. But that's my bet for me.
I'll think of something, and I agree to those terms early. That's fine.
All right.
Let's go. Thank you for the
See.
call, Hito 609. My firstborn, the one that I took to work with me all the way to Boston and all that. Appreciate you, Hito. 267-545-8096. Let's catch up with chat. Mike Dorn says Tony is a legend of the UFC. That's why he's able to fight the big names, in my opinion. He says, why is he able to fight the big names? He's earned it. He's gone on 11 fight win streaks. He's had performances or fight of the nights back to back to back to back. I mean, if anything, he's fighting off his name alone, and he kind of deserves that at this point in his career. Now, does he win is a whole different scenario. I feel sad, and I would like to have someone argue why they believe Ferguson wins. But again, I'm picking Paddy by second round submission, and I hate that that's the conclusion that I've come to. Paddy has fought nobody. Sean has fought only names, says HL. Mike says a few cookies short of a box, but still a UFC legend, says Mike. Tony's still a big name despite losing 6 in a. Yeah, he's a huge name nonetheless. Has had 4 fights in the UFC and is the only thing out of England. That's why Dana's pushing him, says Snipey. That's a good point. Tony's still a name I will pay for every Tony card. He has diehard fans. HL, you're not the only one. I know Torrin Brown is a big one as well, too. Beta Quest says he's getting another pad to his record. So Beta Quest just punching... taking the gloves off. He says, getting another pad to his record or an unexpected tough loss. What does it mean if he suffers this unexpected tough loss? Do people start saying, oh, he lost to a legend, he'll come back stronger than before? Plugs right. Lose for Tony. Kukui have people who will hate him forever if it looks like De La Hoya versus Cesar Chavez. Beta says, I definitely make it a point to point out that O'Malley didn't deserve that shot because he lost to Jan. Listen, me and you both have been consistent in that. I thought he lost 2 rounds to 1, and then he gets a shot at the title. But at the end of the day, styles make fights, and that's why I picked Sean O'Malley to beat Aljamain Sterling, and that's what happened. Paddy needs to stop ducking Matt Frivola. I think he's going to keep ducking him. There's nothing to gain for him there as far as for Paddy. Paddy doesn't take the Frivola fight unless he loses like 1 or 2 in a row. Mark my words. Snipey says, Paddy is 30-something with a Mark Davis bowl cut. I see why Hollywood he told us. Now it's all making sense why Hito's one of the biggest fans. Matt deserves way more credit. And Matt came off an impressive win, not a controversial win like Paddy did against Gordon. Of course, he should get a top 10 guy if he beats Tony. What's his realistic chance? of making the top 10 and beating someone in the top 10. Borracho, welcome to the stream, by the way. Hope you're doing well. Dan by round one murder. Dan Hooker has a problem of not stopping fights from going to the ground if that's the strong suit of his opponent. And he looked good against Jalen Turner, but Turner didn't add that wrestling factor where Paddy will. And that's where it gets a little bit tough for Dan Hooker. Because if Paddy finds himself on the ground with Dan Hooker with like 2 minutes to go, I can see him getting the job done. We have another caller to 201.
Call from
Let's see.
Faith, connect me to DC, Melody DC.
There we go. Chris Faith.
Hey, what's up, Melody DC?
Welcome to the stream. Usually you leave a live voicemail, but today we're doing live calls, so it's good to have a good back and forth with you. Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. Talk to me. How do you feel about this fight?
Literally, listen, look, I'm not rooting for Paddy, and I'm not rooting for Ferguson. I know Ferguson, trust me, when he fights Paddy, he's going to lose. Maybe the first round, maybe the second. Trust me, it's going to be a 3-round fight, but it won't last to the third round. And it's going to be either TKO submission, but to be honest with you, if he wins, Paddy wins, trust me, people are going to be like, but you defeated a loser. You know, they're still going to debate on that until the new year.
That's what a lot of people in chat are saying, that it's a lose-lose situation for Paddy.
Well, it is a lose-lose situation, Len. And I heard you discussing with Gito. Gito. Well, I didn't fully heard what you were saying to Gito because I'm concentrating on putting in a new terabyte on my PlayStation 5.
All good, all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were talking about Paddy Pimblett and Tony Ferguson on who wins. So you have Paddy winning.
Yeah, but knowing that, I'm not going for that guy. I know he's going to win, but don't think I'm rooting for him. I'm not betting for him. I know he's going to win for sure. For sure he's going to win.
Okay, let's move on the conversation to our next topic, though. I would love to hear your thoughts. Leon Edwards, Colby Covington. Break that fight down for me.
Well, I could say that fight is going to last to the 5th round. I could say a 5th round TKO by Leon Edwards. If I'm wrong, it could be Covington.
That's interesting. Why do you have? See, I guess the opposite side of the argument, what people are saying is that Colby's going to be able to wrestle, take Leon down, and kind of just maybe win a boring decision. Why do you feel that that's not going to happen?
Listen, I'm not going to lie. He will try to wrestle him, but let's just say round 2 or 3, when it goes, he will not wrestle him down to the ground.
I agree. I think it's going to essentially become a striking match, and that's why I have Leon winning. I have Leon winning by knockout in the 4th round, though. That might be a little bit optimistic. I feel really strongly that Leon Edwards is going to get the win.
He is going to win, but knowing that, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're going for it. Well, honestly, how many times Colby Covington has tried to win? Twice, and he has failed.
He's come up short against a man that Leon beat.
Okay.
And again, styles make fights, so it's a little bit different. But I agree. Any last thoughts, Chris Faith?
Well, all I could say is that, well, I hope everyone is working well and staying strong. And, I hope you tune into next week's fight, which is Bellator 300. Don't forget about that, man. Don't forget about that.
I think that's on Friday, so we might actually be able to cover it.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you so much for the call, man.
All right, man. Take care. Peace out.
Thank you, sir. There you have it, guys. Chris Faith with the call. We usually don't get to talk to him live. So that was a little cool to have a conversation with Chris Faith. Let's catch up with chat. Borracho says, even if he beat Hooker, he would definitely need at least one more win to get a shot at the title. It's crazy. Imagine we find ourselves in a place where Paddy beats Ferguson, then he maybe fights Dan Hooker. We might be laying it all out before anybody else does. I don't really hear people bringing up Dan Hooker for Paddy. But imagine if Paddy finds himself fighting for the title in, 2025, maybe 2024. I don't see it happening. I don't think he's that good, but you never know. Mike Dornan says, or Snipey says, if everyone else in the lightweight division died, Paddy still wouldn't be champ. Mike Dornan says, Paddy would have to get through at least another 2 top 10 fighters, even if he manages to get through Tony to get a title shot. Do you see that being a possibility for him, Mike Dornan? Sniper says, Seb Leon, I guess, lose for Paddy. Hey, yo, I think that's on your side. Beta. That was random. Audio good here. He's not an annoying Chris. He's the future. Canelo Charlo is this weekend as well, too. We should be able to cover that as well, Plug. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, the real source brought up Paddy and Hooker. Only because I read to you the top 10, right? But fair enough. For you, it's fair. You did bring up Dan Hooker. Paddy's going to have to get past Ferguson first. I'm not that optimistic that it might happen, but I do have him winning by second round submission, so we shall see. 296 press conference going to be good, says Plugs. Tony Ferguson, Paddy Pimblett, and Colby Covington in a who's going to be the star? I guess my question to you guys would be, out of those three, I don't think Leon is going to steal the show in the press conference. If I had to say who's going to be the funniest and who's going to be the star of the show in the press conference, I'm going to have to say Colby Covington. He's going to talk about Leon being a fake champ. You already heard him say headshot dead. They don't even have guns in the UK. He might bring up John Jones. Might bring up Jorge Masvidal's baby mom. He might... What else can Colby talk about? John Jones, Masvidal's baby mom. He might talk about Usman, that he be an old Usman. Colby's going to have plenty to talk about. I think he's going to steal the show. Boracho says, I really need to see him fight Ferguson first. He has to put on a strong showing and show that he has matured as a fighter. If he doesn't, I don't think he beats Hooker. Yeah, I'm going to have to see maybe a little bit more in the striking department, right? Because he has, against Levitt, I don't think he got the best of Levitt in striking. What he did do was he was able to get the back of Levitt eventually. But I don't think he showed any strengths there. Now, against Jared Gordon, the same thing. He lost in the striking department as well, too, against Gordon. So against Ferguson, if I want to start believing in Paddy, not only does he have to beat Ferguson, at this point, Ferguson is washed up. I need to see you dominate. And perhaps he will. We have another caller. Let's see who we have.
Call from
Beta.
It's Beta.
to
Beta in the building. Welcome to the stream.
What's going on, big man? Little big man.
Hanging out, teaching people like you the sport of MMA. We're talking Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson. Tell me your thoughts on this fight.
That's cute. Tony Ferguson, Paddy Pimblett. I'm going against my better judgment here, and I'm picking Tony just because I dislike Paddy that much. There's no stats I can give you. There's no real reason behind it. I'm going Ferguson because, honestly, Paddy's last performance made me never want to support him ever. To be so just arrogant in winning an absolute gift is crazy. And I hope an old wash Tony Ferguson gives him an elbow or a knee that, Burrell's hype train.
Maybe that also shows the differences between Sean O'Malley and Paddy. So I'm glad you brought that up. At least Sean O'Malley, when he beat Piotr Jan, he was like, I don't know. I have to watch that fight. Like, he wasn't even sure. Paddy was so delusional that he was like, oh, no, I won that fight. Like, what are you guys talking about?
It wasn't close.
Remember that? That was his exact... There we go again, teaching people like Hito Beta Quest jointly. Yes, that's the difference. At least Sean O'Malley could be honest in the public eye, when Paddy wasn't.
Yeah, it was just blatantly bad. And he had looked bad in his fight, a couple fights before that, where he was just eating punches. He just got lucky in that debut where he was able to kind of rally back. And against Jordan Levitt, he got, he eventually got the back take that he needed. But if you put him in the top 5, he's got no hope. Maybe if, he cut to 170 from 220 instead of 155, he might have a chance and a chin. But until then, I don't got nothing good to say about the guy, at least as a fighter.
He might be a poor man's version of Bryce Mitchell, now that I think about it, too. Bryce Mitchell, his only path to victory is the grappling because his striking isn't that good. Now, the more I think about it, Paddy's kind of the same way, too.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't take away from where their skill is at. And I know you got mad at me during the Bryce Mitchell fight because I said that I wasn't impressed because the grappling was amazing. That back take in the third, absolutely that was incredible.
It was smooth.
But I mean, he got pieced, and his eye was shut. And Paddy has the exact same problem where he likes to block punches with his face. So.
Oh wow, that's true, man. The more I think about it, does Ferguson have a real chance here?
I mean, if Ferguson can just put on a bit of the speed from Prime Tony, he don't throw check hooks like he does like a normal person. He throws check elbows, man. Like, it could be a long night for Paddy if he doesn't learn how to strike well.
Damn, man. In a sense, this will be one of those beautiful moments where I would love to be wrong if Ferguson actually pulls it off. I still think Paddy's a little bit too big for him, too strong, and at this point in Ferguson's career, he's looked so slow in the octagon against Diaz and against Bobby Green that it's kind of depressing to still see that he's fighting.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm picking Tony purely out of dislike of Paddy's character. I just want to be. I would like to be right, even though I'm probably going to be wrong.
I can't wait for 296, man. Speaking of that as well, too, I don't think you gave me your pick on Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington.
I'm going Colby, and I dislike Colby a lot.
Wow. Okay, breaking news here. Beta going with Colby. Let's hear your argument. I would love to hear this.
Okay, so hear me out. Leon looked absolutely great against Edwards in that second fight. But he struggled in that first one. I mean, he lost every round. Mm-hmm. And he was prepared for Usman in that second. But Colby isn't an orthodox wrestler with power. He's an unorthodox striker and an unorthodox wrestler, which you can't really prepare for. You're looking at a guy who will throw like a switch kick and then a head kick and then go for a single or a double right after, even though he may not even get it. He's gonna try to feint and then chain wrestle from that. Where Usman, he's gonna give you that 1-2, go for the single leg if he's dazed, and just try to knock you out and get you out of this. And I think Colby's stamina and his completely unorthodox way of striking and wrestling is going to be a lot for Usman or Edwards to have to deal with.
Are you banking on Leon Edwards gassing, or do you think Colby's wrestling is good enough where it doesn't matter if he gasses or not? He's just going to be able to find the takedowns.
I think it's going to be a little bit of the two. That, 3 rounds in, he's going to get frustrated, he's going to make a mistake, and Colby's going to capitalize on him biting on the feint.
See, Usman physically is bigger than Colby Covington, and I know the style of wrestling is different where Colby chain wrestles, but again, Colby wasn't able to take down Usman. Like, he had a real trouble at doing so. Granted, Usman couldn't take down Colby as well either. I do believe Leon is going to be able to get to the point, or he's at the point all this time. Remember, he was preparing for Hamza Chimaev before the pandemic. He's been preparing for Usman for years. He's been working on his wrestling so much. I do believe he's very confident in his wrestling. And I know Colby's a different animal, but I think Leon is good enough to nullify the takedowns. What do you say to that?
His takedown defense was stellar in that second fight, but what do you say in the first one? He got a takedown on Usman, but he struggled biting at feint after feint. And if you're going into this fight for the first time with Colby, unlike Usman, which was the Usman fight was technically the third when he won the rematch. So he had kind of an idea of where to meet Usman, and he still lost in the difference of who Usman was as to who Usman was in that second fight. So he has no idea what he's getting with Colby at all. And if he struggled that much with having a game plan with Usman and absolutely lucking out on that head kick, and kudos to him for setting up that kick all night. But he still, a hope and a prayer is a lot different than having a structured game plan against somebody you can't structure a game plan around.
The only thing I will say to your argument, you might hate this, but Leon would have won that second fight if it wasn't for the elevation. I think that really screwed him. I think Leon is a better fighter at this point in both of their careers.
I don't disagree. I think a lot of it played a part in everybody's cardio that night. I don't think that's debatable. I know we have a a certain caller who loses his mind when we mention that, but it's a fair point. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one, not at all.
I can't believe my eyes. I always knew that Beta was a secret Trumpster, I guess, and maybe this is the way. Maybe this is the way that that he lets it out a little bit. No, but I respect that. Despite not liking Colby Covington, you do see the skill set. And again, if I'm wrong, it's going to be because of what you said, the wrestling, the unorthodoxness of Colby Covington to kind of trouble Leon. I agree. I think Leon has been overlooked as far as how good he is because he's had moments against Nate Diaz where he looked vulnerable, had moments against Usman where he was losing until the head kick. Maybe this is a performance for Leon where he comes out and shows, listen, I'm the best welterweight in the world. And he has a dominant performance against Colby. That's why I'm picking 4th round knockout.
There's 4 minutes and 30 seconds of a round in the last round. So that's what, 23 and a half minutes of tape to what you need to beat Edwards. And I like Edwards, but to have that much footage on you of the blueprint to beat you, I think somebody like Colby, who is a freak of nature in the stamina department and with a decent enough fight IQ, is going to be able to take advantage of that.
Let me read you a message. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Borracho Wins says, I think Edwards beat an aged Usman. What do you say to that?
I mean, he is on lovely grandpa knees. Yeah, can we disagree? He went through hand surgery. He's had knee surgery. He literally doesn't train because his body has gone through car crashes, several of them,
I mean, Borracho might be right, man. I truly can't wait. Imagine a world where Colby is the champ as well, too. That's going to... Sean Strickland and Colby being champions at the same time is going to be entertaining.
They need to be on a card together because that would probably be the greatest press conference ever. Unless it had, like, Chael Sonnen in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll be a sight to see, man. I really, again, you make some good points for once, but I do believe Leon. I feel strongly about this one, Beta. I'm telling you, he's going to come out and he's going to nullify the takedowns.
Just like the opposite of the Tony pick, I want to be wrong. I want Edwards to win. I just think Colby has what it takes to get it done.
I do have another question for you. Let's say Leon, because I guess your form of Colby winning had to do with the wrestling. Let's say hypothetically that Leon does nullify the takedowns. Colby can't get one. It essentially becomes a striking match. Does Colby have a chance there or no?
He's a decent striker. It's just he doesn't have the power to stand with Edwards all night if it's a striking match. But I don't think that it'll stop him from fighting a path to victory. It's just not going to be a pretty one, especially if he catches, heavy hands.
Yeah, I feel like against Usman, Colby, he was doing really good in the striking department, but every time Usman landed, it just seemed bigger and it was hurting him more. So I think with Leon, that might be the same.
Yeah. Now, Edwards, I don't know if he has the same amount of power that Usman has, but he's more versatile. So I think it's like a 60-40 Edwards if it stays a striking match. Just because Colby's just going to throw crazy strikes from weird angles just to throw him off.
Yeah, he does the whole like feigning to the body, throwing the left hook or the left overhand like over the top to kind of throw you off. He caught Leon with that a few times. We'll see what happens. So your final prediction for Colby Covington is?
I'm gonna go Colby by decision. Probably split.
If it's close, also too, the UFC might do their thing, and he gets the nod.
Absolutely. Edwards, kudos to him for being a great fighter. That don't sell, and we know that judges are who they are. And if Dana likes you, you're gonna get it. That's what matters.
Listen, Beta, I hate to say this, but a lot of people are agreeing with you in chat. It kind of disgusts me. So thank you for your call. You made some good points. Anything you want to tell the chat before you get out of here?
Dime papi porque va a enseñar todo.
You heard it here first. Thank you, Beta Quest, for the call, sir.
Papi.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. This is my firstborn, guys. I mean, I heard Beta was a little jealous that I took Hito to Combat FC instead of Beta. Maybe next time I'll take Beta, man. It's unfair to the second born.
It should have been me.
You sound like Trey. Yep. I see what you're doing there. Thank you so much, Beta. I hate that people were agreeing with you in chat.
All love, brother. All love. Peace.
Appreciate you, man. Much love. Beta with the good call, man. I mean, he made a good point. Most of you guys are agreeing with him. Let's catch up with chat and see what you guys have to say. Guy said, Paddy short broke 1K already. You ironically need that guy to keep winning, says Hito. Haters gonna hate. Beta sees through the marketing. Chris Face says, what would I do? Respect if you are a fan of them. I respect that. Hito, for me, I'm not. Can only be a fan of him if he can get rid of the stupid coconut head haircut. Hito says, and he didn't get knocked out. How you saying he don't have a chin? He's gotten wobbled. Boracho says, it is a make or break fight for both. If Paddy loses, it really hurts him. I don't know if I agree about it hurts him massively. He's still... I can see people taking the other route too, saying, oh, he lost to a legend that came out to fight tonight. He'll be back. It'll be his first loss in the UFC. I think he'll be okay. Finally, we agree on something. Beta, says Hito. Leon Scott is losing to Donald Trump's favorite. Plugs, I read that in Colby Covington's voice. He loves bringing up that he's Donald Trump's favorite fighter. Let's go, Plugs. Tell him, Beta. A lot of Colby fans in chat. Colby is a wrestler that actually wrestles. He knows what he is and sticks to it. I respect that, says Snipey. Hito says, look how big Paddy is. We talk about Paddy. You would thought you were in a Kai Cenat chat. You change topics and the chat goes at a snail's pace. I mean, people are loving the Paddy topic. What is the date on that as well, too? UFC 296 date. That is what? December 16th. Man, I can't wait for that because a lot of people are excited. We'll be at 8,000 subscribers by then, man. We'll see where we're at. Gonna be tough to pick the main card. Good matchup, says Mike Dornan. Once Colby beats Leon, he should fight Strickland. He's been calling out Islam Makhachev as well, too, which is quite interesting, but we'll see what happens. Where is the fight? The fight is, let's see, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas is where the fight will be, according to MMA Junkie. And they released something this month, so I think that, yeah, people are saying Vegas as well, too. Oh, yeah, could be right. Donald will be at the event as well. Will he get maybe some, as he would call it, some dragon energy from Trump? 267-545-8096. If you have Ferguson winning or if you have Colby Covington winning, feel free to call in and share your thoughts. Me personally, I got Leon Edwards and I have Paddy Pimblett. But if you see Ferguson or Colby winning, you let me know. Listen, again, I feel more strongly that Paddy's going to get the job done instead of Leon. The Leon and Colby is a more even matchup. And I think even the odds say that. Let's see what the odds are for Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson odds. And before I hit enter, I'm going to say it's going to be like a -3, maybe a -275 for Paddy, I'm going to say. Plus 200, 250 for Ferguson. Let me know. You guys tell me what the odds are going to be before I hit enter. I guess you guys will see this on delay, so let's see. Ferguson is listed as a plus. Damn, I was somewhat close. What did I say? 275 plus 275 or plus 325? I said something close to that. And Paddy is set as a -340. I was pretty damn close on that one. Beta says, Hito, to answer the chin question, he's gotten cracked by guys not in the top of the game. Let Fiziev or Dariush touch that chin in the same way, then go to the hitters at the top, Gaethje and Poirier. Oh, he'll be knocked out cold. He leaves his chin exposed. Granted, it's for entertainment, he says. I think maybe he just doesn't have the best defense, and it shows. Man, I can't wait, man. We got some events on the horizon. Look at this. I mean, that Fazeev leg snap was sad. We didn't even talk about that as much. Bryce Mitchell won. He might be fighting for the title, and after 2 more fights, I made an argument on that in my last video. You guys could check out. And we have a week off of the UFC. There's no UFC this weekend, but there is Charlo. I think Plugs mentioned it earlier. There's Charlo Canelo this weekend, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to cover that live. That is the plan. We shall see. Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green will be October 7th. That's the week after. Joe Pyfer, who's from Philadelphia, I believe. Alex Morono's fighting as well, too. I like Alex a lot, too. Drew Dober's on that card as well. Not a horrible card. If I had to give my early predictions, I'm going to say Dober, Morono, Pyfer, Grant Dawson, Bobby Green. I'm going to have to go Grant Dawson. It's not the worst card, though. Who do we have in the preliminaries? Chris Gutierrez is on it as well, too. Anybody else that's noteworthy? Nothing else that's too crazy. Then we have October 14th, Sadiq Yusuf will be or who's fighting Edson Barbosa. Yusuf has beaten Caceres, right? Barbosa, strangely enough, 23-11. He is a seasoned veteran, but he's still a monster. I still might have to pick Barbosa to beat Yusuf. Maya's fighting Araujo. Adrian Yanez, who's coming off a loss, is fighting Martinez. Pereira, who missed weight, is fighting that same day as well, too. And then we have 294, where we can mess around a little bit and talk some Islam Makhachev Oliveira, because, again, I will surprise you and say I'm picking Oliveira. Maybe we can talk about that just a tiny bit. Patty is like -350. Hollywood Ito says, Beta, we were on the same page with the whole Colby thing. Let's leave this on a good note. That's might be the first time that I saw Beta and Hito agree on something. It was nice to see. What are the odds Patty leaves his chin up high and Tony perfectly timed it with a spinning elbow? Imagine if that happens. I almost sound like a Patty hater. I'm not a Patty hater, but it would be nice, interesting to see that be the case and that happening. I think he'll win Hito. I just don't want him to. I went with Tony purely out of hatred of his lack of awareness of his skill level, says Beta Quest. I sent pick on Discord. Miller, the people need to know. Just became you're a bum for picking Oliveira. Listen and talk about. Breaking news. This might be a little bit off topic, but maybe we can explain this. Who is this guy right here, Mr. Brokeback Mountain? He looks like a Stark from Game of Thrones, right? Like the one that doesn't become king, right? Like the son that people forget about, I guess. The one that you make them answer the door or grab the groceries. That's what I see right here. With the U.S. Polo Association shirt, not even a polo shirt. Same hairline, less junk in the trunk. Troy. Man, I don't know how Hito finds the dirt on these guys, but he finds it. If you're on Hito's bad side, I would be a little bit timid. We've talked at length about Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards and Ferguson and Paddy Pimblett. Shall we sneak peek a little bit? Just a little bit on the closest pay-per-view card and talk a little bit about maybe how I'm losing my mind or how I'm right. But October 21, less than a month away, we have Makhachev and Oliveira. As we keep discussing maybe what's wrong with Trey Stark, Beta, no, please don't tell me you got Oliveira. You're a bum for picking Oliveira. Beta, tell me you're picking Oliveira. Give me more credit than that, Hito. I'm picking Islam. Leroy, welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here earlier today and for stopping back today. I want to touch a little bit before we end the stream tonight. I want to talk about the main event for the next pay-per-view, UFC 294. I just can't help it. I can't help. Again, I almost wish I could fast forward time, because the problem with my takes is that you guys can believe that I'm crazy for a few months or a few days until I'm right, a few weeks at most. Let me be honest. I picked Oliveira to beat Makhachev the first time. Laughable. What was I thinking? Islam dominated him. That wasn't Charles Oliveira in there. That was not the Oliveira that we saw against Poirier. We have another caller as well, too. Let me actually pick this up before I continue talking about this.
Call from
Deron Brown.
Teron Brown in the
press
building.
1.
Let's see what
To
he
send
has
a
to say. Teron, welcome to the stream.
What's going on, Miller?
What's going on? Nothing much over here. Waiting to hear what you have to say for the fights that were aforementioned. What's up, man?
I'm just calling in just to get my, just to talk about that little Ferguson and Paddy fight. I ain't gonna be on it long with you.
No worries, man. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I feel like on paper, it's a fight that Ferguson can win, considering that Paddy isn't that good of a fighter. Like, considering that his stand-up is very horrible, and considering that he don't have good stand-up defense. And I feel like if the fight can stay standing, I feel like Ferguson can tear him up on the field. I just don't think Paddy has what it takes to really, give him threats on the feet like that. I don't see the threat to give him on the feet because he's not that good.
I was banking on Paddy is a bigger lightweight. I have Paddy winning, but it does get interesting if, which oddly enough I haven't even talked about. What if it does become just a striking match? Ferguson does have a real chance, like you're saying.
Yeah, Ferguson's tall. He got a longer reach. He's just an overall better striker. Paddy Pimblett, like I said, he's not that good, man. Like he's not a good fighter to me. Like the fight he had against Derek Gordon, he looked horrible. He looked like shit in that fight. He looked good in that fight.
No, that's fair. No, I thought he lost the fight, actually. Even more so, I thought he lost the fight and was gifted a decision.
And I just feel like, but you know what though? Looking back on the Bobby Green fight, that's a fight that Ferguson could have won too. But Bobby Green is a better fighter than Paddy. So
especially striking.
Yeah, and I just feel like if the fight can stay standing, I feel like not Green. I feel like Tony can do damage. I feel like Tony's the better striker. Like we might can see another first round like he had against Michael Chandler against Paddy.
He was winning that fight before he got knocked out in the second.
And I feel like if he hit Paddy, I think Paddy going down. Paddy can't not good. I'm calling now. I got Ferguson about knockout in the first round. I know people gonna call me the loser and crazy for picking Tony Ferguson because he's been losing 6 fights, but I just feel like if he hit Paddy gonna get knocked out. That's what I think.
Teron, I appreciate the call, because what I will say is anybody that was arguing for Ferguson before didn't really break it down, where I thought you made some good points. If it stays striking, Ferguson's striking is better. Yes, he's older, he's slower, but Paddy has been wobbled and cracked before. Ferguson could potentially, he looked good against Michael Chandler in the first round. Bobby Green is a better fighter than Paddy as far as in the striking department. So you do bring up good points. Now, to be as bold as to say that Ferguson is going to win by first round knockout, I commend you, because if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, we'll have you back and maybe we'll roast you a little bit. That's the beauty of picking fights. Some days you're right, some days you're wrong.
If I'm wrong, y'all can roast the hell out of me.
Oh,
but I just feel like Ferguson can knock him out.
If you're right, you could roast everybody here. You could roast me. You could roast Hito. You could roast I think anybody else. I think the only people that picked Ferguson was you and Beta. So you say first round knockout, right?
Yeah, I got Ferguson by first round. I'm not gonna say he knocked him out cold. Probably a TKO in the first round. First round TKO.
I would hope.
Or I got another thing, Milk.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the fight stays standing, if Ferguson uses blades to cut him up, he might get a second round doctor stoppage too.
That's another possibility. Again, nobody's talking about Ferguson's jiu-jitsu, even if he does find himself on his back as well too. He's not Jordan Levitt, he's not Jared Gordon. His grappling is going to be better than those guys as well. And he has a wrestling background, speaking of Ferguson. So it does, you make a compelling argument. Any last thoughts, Tehran?
Can I talk about one more fight on
Yeah,
that
of course. Yep.
Now it's a fight that just got announced on that card. That's that Ian Gary and Sensei Luke fight.
Yep.
Now I know people gonna call me delusional on this one, but I'm picking Luke to beat Ian Gary. I think he's gonna win.
Vicente Luque is a solid fighter. The problem that I have, I'm picking Ian Gary, and the reason why is because I think it's gonna essentially be a striking match. And Vicente Luque looked decent against RDA, but remember he lost to Jeff Neal by KO. He lost to Bilal Muhammad. I'm not saying Ian Gary is Bilal Muhammad as well rounded as him. Even Jeff Neal is a tough matchup for Ian Gary as well too. I just think at this point in both of their careers, Vicente Luque is over the hill. He's been around for a while. I do believe he's going to stay striking, and I do believe Gary's going to get the job done. Why do you feel Luque is going to get the job done?
I mean, I feel like if Luque, can strike him a little bit and kind of use his wrestling somewhat, taking down, court takedowns a little bit, I feel like he can win. But I know he's not going to do that. So, you know what? I'm saying it's my pick. I'm going Ian Gary. I ain't taking no that. I trying to fool picking some damn Sensei Luque.
Nah.
I feel like Ian Gary gonna be better, but I also feel like Vicente can land some shots on, because Ian Gary don't move his head like that, and
Right.
dude got power. He do got power.
He does.
But anyway, Mill, that's all I have to say, man. I'm gonna let you get back to you live and talk about whatever you're gonna talk about.
Appreciate your call, Tehran Brown. That was a very compelling argument for Ferguson. So thanks again, man.
Oh yeah, I want to say one more thing. Now I seen somebody in the comments talking about I was boring and all. Like when I get on the phone talking to you, they say I'm boring. I want to still feel that way about me. The person that said that.
I forgot who it was, so call him out if you do remember in chat. All right.
All right.
All right, bro. Appreciate it, man. There you go, guys. Tehran Brown with a very good call on his argument why Ferguson. Listen, that's why I love doing this show, guys, because what was I gonna say? I want to be convinced otherwise. The problem is when I have to debate guys like Beta and Hito, they're not gonna sway me the other way. Their arguments are a little bit lackluster. They don't know much about the sport. It's tough. Now, Tehran Brown comes around and he makes a good argument of why Ferguson actually has a chance. He says, in lack of better words, he says, Bobby Green is a better striker than Paddy. Paddy is not Bobby Green when it comes to striking. So what if it does stay striking? What if Ferguson catches Paddy Pimblett? Very true. He also has a sharp elbows. You saw how good he looked against Michael Chandler in the first round. He's had success. And Paddy leaves his chin up there. It's a decent argument on why Ferguson gets the job done. He also has a wrestling background. Paddy is not the same level of fighters of that Ferguson has been fighting. All good arguments. Again, Hito and Beta, they're not going to give you that. I'm taking, let's see, Tony can grapple too. I'm not sure Paddy has an advantage on the ground, says Snipey. There you go. Boracho says, sorry, Miller, I don't think Islam gets beat. I think he is going to have a long title reign. I know, I sound a little bit foolish almost picking Oliveira, right? Also, I emailed YouTube to get my money back for the 12-month membership. I hope they never reply to you, Hito. Bilal is proof you don't need to be a great striker to win, says Hito. Tony can grapple too. Yep. I'm talking about T for Hito, the 10th planet killer. Beta said, that's a great point, Tehran. Bobby won in the striking department, but because he was more fresh and Bobby has freakish speed, where Paddy does look slow in comparison to other lightweights. So imagine if Tehran is right and we come back saying, remember that one caller that had Ferguson when everybody else had Paddy Pimblett? It'll be beautiful to make a clip out of this and say that guy was right. Death Star type of champ only, says Snipey. I will be there when you're wrong, Tehran. Add a 60-pound weight cut to the blown up weight. That's another thing. When when does it happen where Paddy finally the weight cut got to him and he looks drained in there and his chin is more than just questionable and Ferguson makes him pay for it? Because that guy is cutting from what, like 200 plus, as crazy as it is. It's insane. Paddy by split decision says borracho. Sniper says Hito and Dana going to cry together if Paddy loses. Hito will definitely cry the same way he cried when Ryan Garcia lost to Tank Davis. It's a true story. Hito was shedding tears. I'm smelling a robbery, says Borracho. That's another, listen, it happened with Gordon. Yo, Hito, Sniper just gave Miller the best bet. Ian Gary going to be a problem in the division for a long time. Yeah, his striking is pretty it's pretty spectacular. At the end of the day, you saw what he did to Daniel Rodriguez. He completely shut out Neil Magny, and he looked great against him. At the end of the day, he's a good fighter. Whether you love him or hate him, he's a damn good fighter, especially in the striking department. Is he a little bit cringy coming after Neil Magny, saying that he hits his son and just being annoying in the press conference? Yes. But he's a damn good fighter. Grow my hair. Unfortunately, I'm a manager and I couldn't get away with something like that. Tehran out here schooling. He made me a little more comfortable in my pick. I'm not going to lie. He was calm, cool, collected, and made some good points. Appreciate it, Tehran, if you're hearing me out there. That was a good call. But I'm not going to lose, says Hito. Just say you're going to be Peso Pluma for Halloween. All of a sudden, I get less of a bonus next year. Imagine Hito with like the Shawn Michaels freaking ponytail. Guys, nonetheless, we've been live for an hour. Hito was somewhat right. This guy, Paddy Pimblett, brings attention because I want to talk about Oliveira a bit. But people just are adamant to talk Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. I think you are looking at Bilal Pimblett. Says Borracho, what do you mean by that, Borracho? Borracho, how's everything been, by the way, man? Hope you and the family are well. I know the job, I believe you said Micro Center, I believe. So I hope everything is going well. And I apologize that you had to hear Beta call in and give his bad takes. Beta had somewhat of a decent take. Teron Brown had a good take today, but yeah, when you have to deal with Trays and Beta and Hito, it's a little bit tough out there. I am second guessing my pick of Paddy Pimblett, not only because Tehran made a good argument. Upsets have been happening over and over in the UFC as well, too, a lot as of recent. Imagine Ferguson is one of those upsets. Raul Rosas was what was Raul? Let me see if I could bring it up real quick. Raul Rosas Jr. versus who was it? Christian Rodriguez odds. Raul Rosas was a minus 250 and Christian Rodriguez won that fight. We've been seeing what was Sean Strickland Adesanya early odds. What were those odds? A minus 650 was a minus 650 for Adesanya. Strickland was a plus 450. What was another Duplessis versus Whitaker odds? Robert Whitaker was a minus 385. Listen, a lot of upsets. Maybe Tony Ferguson is damn. Maybe he makes a good point, man. Maybe he makes a good point. I almost want to switch sides right now because I would also like to see it. He is going to his wins by decision from here on out, similar to Bilal. Got you. I mean, he has good jiu-jitsu. If Bobby, that was an argument of mine as well too. If Bobby Green was able to submit Tony Ferguson, there's no reason why Paddy Pimblett is not able to do it as well too. Depending on where the fight goes, how long it lasts, and depending the version of Ferguson that we get, he does appear to be over the hill. Fight someone like Paddy that's fresh, that's somewhat of a weight bully. Paddy Pimblett could maybe take the back and get a rear naked choke. Ferguson is a little bit slower than he has been. Could very well be the case that Paddy wins by submission. Nonetheless, we've had a very fun live stream. Thank you for another one. Thank you for the donations. Hito, thank you for the donation. Beta Quest earlier in the Cash App. Appreciate you guys. You guys help a brother continue doing this. And now we're doing what? Two Did I miss a call? No, I didn't miss a call. Cool. Now we're doing 2 streams every Monday. We're coming out with shorts. We're putting in the work. So to that I say thank you. We're going to end it here. Be on the lookout for more content. I'm going to come out with as much as I can. #1 commentary channel on YouTube. If you have any video suggestions or anything like that, feel free to let me know. Catch you guys in the next one. Paddy Pimblett's going to win. Leon Edwards going to win.